Why are friends? Why are friends for?
No, really. What are friends for? Hey guys, thanks for listening to What Are Friends For? I'm Pallavi Sastry.
And I'm Gabrielle Ruiz, and we are so excited about our guest today. Really, really good friends of both of ours. A friend, not even of mine in New York City, but we have so much in common with all of our New York vibes and whatnot. We have Miss Carly Hughes on today.
God. Hi, guys.
Oh my
Hello,
God.
Carly. I would say that I would introduce you as, you know, the usual singer, dancer, actor, triple threat, Broadway broad, and all these things. But I'm more interested in cooking with Carly these days, which we will talk about later.
I appreciate that, and I approve.
Okay, because we know you're on ABC's American Housewife. You are all of the Broadway shows. You even have this whole like cut up beautiful playbill thing situation for everyone needs to guess all your shows that you've been in.
Oh my God,
And-
yeah, I just got that.
oh, is it beautiful? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Everyone go to Carly's Instagram because you'll see it eventually. It's gorgeous. And you have to guess all the shows that she's been on based on this beautiful artwork piece. But also, like, I had always admired you from your New York career. We had never worked together. And when you moved, I think I was a temporary move with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but when you moved for American Housewife here to Los Angeles, I literally you were my first, this is like a confession. I don't think you know this. You were
What?
the first New York person where I was like, I had a lot of like regrets in New York where I was just so busy and too tired to nurture friendships.
Yeah, well,
And
you do 8
so
shows a week, so it's kind of hard.
it's kind of hard and exhausting. And I remember seeing you and I was like, I've always wanted to know her and I'm going to go introduce myself because I want to be her friend.
Oh my gosh, shut up. Are you serious?
I am so serious. You were like my first.
I didn't know that's what you were thinking, but I remember we were at the Diversity Academy event
Party.
for the Television Academy. And you were like, Carly Hughes? And I I was trying to be normal, but I also was like, huh? Didn't know what was happening. And then you went, oh, I mean, you're Carly Hughes, right? I was like, yeah. And you were like, this is me. And I did Broadway too. And it was so cute. And then we hung out the rest of the night.
We did. And you were my first genuine intention to be a friend, not just a colleague, because we didn't have any New York in common, but we did, in this funny way. And so since then, I cut to 4 years later, I know you hate group texts, but we're all in the same kind of girlfriend group. And Pallavi, how did you meet Carly?
Well, Carly was, kind of quasi through all of you guys, like a Courtney Reed and a Kat Hennessy and a Gabrielle. Like it was sort of all of it, sort of conspiring at the rock climbing gym.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
the rock climbing era.
Yeah, Pallavi was there on my first day of rock climbing. I'm using quotes and you guys can't see because they were climbing rocks and I was, I don't know, hanging against a wall, which I also posted on Instagram. And you can hear Pallavi dying in the background laughing at me because I got stuck against the wall.
But you look so pretty. You're such a ballerina. But also for the listeners out there, it's indoor boulder rock climbing. We aren't going out into the mountains.
Yeah, we're not free soloing or something. It's just it's very controlled
Cute.
Hollywood rock climbing gym.
Fake climbing.
But anyway, we're really excited to have you on the show today so we can talk about the whole theme, I think, of season 2 for us is sort of relationships in the post-COVID world, even though we're still living through it. I think we've been talking about how all of our relationships have changed and how we keep in touch with people. And I know that you're very much a connector and so many people from your New York life and your LA life that we have in common, but we also wanted to talk to you about your really deep connections with, your mother and with your family members, because I know you're just so close to your family.
Yeah, I mean my family's huge, so it makes it hard because my mom is one of 8 and my dad is one of 7. And
wow.
I have my younger brother and my 2 younger sisters who are my dad's whole side is in St. Louis with my sisters. And my mom got most of her sisters to move to Maryland and my brother is there. And so they're kind of all over. Then I have family in Atlanta and Seattle as well. So they're all over. and there's a million of them. And so it's been interesting during this time when you're supposed to be together and supporting each other, but at the same time apart, minimum 6 feet / across the country, and also trying to support, everyone. And yeah, so that's been very interesting. It was difficult at first, like trying to convince my mom to stay the frick home and not go to work, which was ironic because I feel like a lot of people during this time have had this issue of the role reversal and being the parent, of being like, no, sit the hell down and stop moving.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're supposed to do. And so that's been one of the two major things that have stressed me out during this process is my mom. I keep yelling at her that she's not taking it seriously. She's like, yes, I am. And I'm like, well, not correctly. And we go back and forth over the phone. And I got her to stay home for like a week and a half, which is nothing at the height of it. And then she was like, well, I'm just going to go back to work and we're being safe. And I'm being safe. And I'm like, Mom, I have friends who were quote unquote safe and still got corona. And they're not the ones who just recovered from a double mastectomy and breast cancer. So like, I don't understand why we're having this conversation, So that's been a process. But overall, I've just been making sure everyone has everything they need. And that's always fallen on me as the kind of caretaker and my personality type and however I fell in place with my family of being the one that's always taking care of people and making sure they have groceries and money for groceries. And if my mom's not working, helping her with her salary while, not having any jobs. So myself. So it's been very interesting. But we get it done, and everyone's doing their part to not go crazy and stay sane and help each other. And we have a group text, and I hate group text, but it only has 3 people on it. 4. It's me and my mom, my brother, and my sister-in-law. So that's it. And that's how we stay close while being in separate states, And it's mainly just us sending memes or information.
So Carly, we do a fun little segment, more of like an icebreaker, even though we've already broken the ice because, we're awesome. We can still do our fun little segment.
Insta friends or reality. Yeah.
And it means that we go into your Instagram, and even though we're all like sort of watching each other on Instagram all the time, we want to actually like take one of your recent posts and talk about it and talk about the experience behind it and the story behind it. Cool?
Word. Let's do it. I feel like you should be like Instagram friends. Pew, 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 pew.
We'll probably just use what you just did. We'll use your voice right there.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, hopefully we'll make you like write, sign a little writer just so we can use it forever for all the seasons to come.
I love it. I approve.
So Gabrielle, didn't you say that there was I'm looking at it right now. It's a little psychedelic Cinco de Mayo post.
Yeah, girl. This Twilight Zone Quarantine 2020. And what I love about your photos are always your shoes, but also it's your boop. Your famous boop.
Yep. There's always going to be no matter what, because boop goes with every sentiment. Like it'd be like, yes, girl, boop, or it'll be like, boop, boop. So
you're like, what a mistake, boop.
Boop. Be like, whoopsie boop. I'm clearly in here entertaining myself with my boobs, but I'm obsessed with shoes. You know this. I have a whole shoe shrine. I think Gabrielle, you've seen it. My shoe shrine.
I did on FaceTime once.
You can take the girl out of New York. You can't take the New York out of the girl. I think I own maybe 3 pair of tennis shoes that are only used for working out. Like you're not gonna catch me slipping in a slide. No. I just gonna always be and I just
that's the quotable for this episode, by the way.
Yeah, you're not gonna catch me slipping in a slide. I don't remember, what is that post from? I saw the shoes because I call them like my Tinkerbell boop shoes because they have a little fur ball at the top, and I found them at Crossroads, which I'm obsessed with. And that picture was taken in a room at Candytopia, which was this like struggle bus pop-up that came to LA. And it like I say struggle bus because it like opened and no one knew what it was, but I went to the opening night, and then it was supposed to open again, but then it closed and didn't tell the people that all had tickets because I had a bunch of friends that were like,
boy.
And then like it was empty, like the circus has left town. But in the within Candytopia, every room was made of candy, and I'm obsessed with candy too. I love candy. I try not to eat it, but I can't help it. And we got to this one room, and there were candy bubbles blowing everywhere and confetti, and this one Twilight wall where you pose and it looks like you're going to fall in. And I was just scrolling through because, you know, who has content these days? Because you're sitting at home on your couch. So unless people want to see me in my pajamas 24/7, there's not much to post on Instagram. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, let me do some throwbacks. And I found this and I was like, oh, this makes me happy because of the boob shoes and that psychedelic hole in the wall. Are you falling left, right, up, or down? Is literally all of 2020, like the whole 15 years of 2020.
Yes,
and so
preach.
I just posted it because I was like, again, you could put me in a quarantine, I'm gonna still try to be cute. So it's just summed up my whole life of like being in pajamas, maybe wearing a heel around the house. Maybe I don't. I probably do. And trying not to stumble into the Twilight Zone while we all, you know, maintain distance and do what we're told, because it's easier to go against the grain, as we find with all these protesters and things like that. And the noble and the right thing is to stay inside, shut your mouth, and, you know, it's not forever. In the grand scheme of things, it's been, what, 8 weeks? That's not nothing. I mean, I don't know who I'm offending by saying that, but I kind of don't care. It's nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I totally understand how you feel. And I feel like with the amount of patience that it takes and the amount of rescheduling your inside quarantine life schedule, you know, it's something that does feel sometimes like the Twilight Zone, you know, like you kind of feel like you're going through this. What day is it? What hour is it? Can I start drinking because it's noon? But it's, you know, happy hour somewhere.
I feel like I'm having a mimosa because it's brunch, but no, it's Tuesday. I don't know.
Or also, like, for me, I remember texting, I think I texted you, Paula, this. I was like, I feel like I'm getting sick because, like, I have like a little bit of sore throat and my, you know, I feel lousy. Oh no, I had mimosas and pancakes 2 hours ago. So I'm having a huge sugar crash. I'm not getting corona. I hope it's more because I am not eating well.
Well, I mean, Carly, like, you've been such a big advocate for, like, you know, please stay at home. Because, you know, I mean, you're right. In the grand scheme of things, like, we are all really blessed to like have the shelter to be sheltered in place, right?
Exactly.
And you know, you're taking this time to enjoy your home, and part of that is the beautiful cooking segments that you're doing. And I know you're keeping it fresh for yourself by doing that, but I'm sure that you've probably made some connections through that content, and I'm sure people have been reaching out to you. Hey, will you please make this? I've always wanted to make this, but will you make it? You know, I want to know if there's been some new connections that have happened through that.
I mean, it's been really fun that, like, you know, people are like, oh my God, I love watching your show. And I'm like, my show, it's all stories, and it disappears and I have to remember how to save it. But because I you know, I cook all the time. And if you come over to my house, 99% of the time I'm cooking, because that's me enticing you to come over so I don't have to go out, is I'll cook for you. And so in terms
Relatable.
of, right. In terms of Instagram, I've always recorded and posted my meals for like my Thanksgiving meals that I do, or holiday meals. And, you know, it's a one-time thing. But when this started, I was like, well, ain't got nothing else to do. I'll just show you how I made this. And then it was like, oh yeah, and you're cooking every day, so I'll just show you how I made this. And then it became a source of entertainment for myself. And then came the fans and the friends that were like, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could freeze scallions. I didn't know you could freeze broccoli. I didn't know you could cook that. And I didn't, you know, which was
the cutting the cake thing, the cake technique.
That cake cutting.
Holly, did you see that?
I don't think I saw the cake one, but the one that I think maybe like rewinded and watched a couple of them was how much you revel in lobster.
Oh my
Yes, you do.
I didn't know. I don't know if you didn't know that, Polly, but like, I'm obsessed. I knew every lobster spot in New York, which ones had happy hour lobster deals, like lobster sliders and lobster tails. And I would go between shows and go get them too. Before when I had to actually like move my body and I would throw up.
Bless.
I ate too much. But like, yeah, no, I'm obsessed with lobster. My essential list, and when I was at the grocery store, like everything was gone to hell in a handbasket, and no paper products and no meat. And I was like, oh, y'all got lobster tails? Can I get 5 of those? And they've been sitting in my freezer waiting for the perfect moment. But yeah, it's been and it's been really cool seeing like fans send pictures in the DM of like, I made your air fryer donuts and my kid loved them. She said they didn't taste like Dunkin', but they were good. Or like, I made
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, it's cool. There's a bunch of people that made the sesame noodles, which were freaking awesome. And I'm just like, I haven't taken recipes yet from like a book and made them. They've all just been stuff that I have either made forever or I'm making up on the spot. The only hard part has been getting groceries because I stopped going to the store a while ago because I'm immunocompromised. And so I have friends that'll go and there's the delivery, but the delivery time windows, man, they will F up a Cooking with Carly when they don't got no shrimp.
Oh, because it's like
Wow.
it's not available. It's not like the person picking it up for you messes it up, or
no, it's like you put everything in your cart you want, which I've learned, especially during the apocalyptic times, mainly now, and they'll let you place the order. But then once your shopper gets there, if your order window is like 5 to 6, that means your shopper doesn't get there till like 4, which means everyone whose orders were placed and their delivery is like between 8 and 4 p.m. had first pick at all the produce and the grocery.
First
so
pickings.
like it happened to me the other day. I was going to do a Cinco de Mayo meal, but like the Target delivery guy was like, there is no more frozen shrimp, raw or cooked. And I was like, amazing.
Oh, you're like, but I have Cooking with Carly. Don't you get it?
Corona line shrimp scampi. I don't even know about it.
Oh no, I was gonna say, but you know what though, Carly, you're saying like, you haven't, made a recipe from a book or anything, but I think there's a lesson in that. And the reason why, because I also don't love to follow directions when I cook.
Yeah.
So I think what it teaches everybody is that, whatever you have in your home, you can figure out a way to treat yourself well and eat well. So that's what I love about it, is like, you can make it work. And that's what this whole like time is about, is like, listen, you're at home, make it work.
Make it work.
It's like,
I know. I did. That was one of my whole things is like, especially at the beginning when I realized I had to stop going to the store and I couldn't go get everything I wanted. It was like, I'm going to use everything I have in this house. And I'm the leftover queen. I love leftovers. So a lot of my posts is like, okay, see you in 2 or 3 days because I'm going to eat this every day till then. Or I did a post in conjunction with World Central Kitchen, who reached out and asked if I would do a recipe for the people. And I was like, all right, I'm going to use what I have. Everyone has pasta. I use spaghetti. I use tuna, and made like a Mediterranean tuna pasta, which ended up being like my new favorite. But so many people were like, wow, I have tuna and I have pasta and I have lemons. And I'm like, great. You may not have, I always say you may not have every ingredient I list, but chances are you have at least 5 of them.
See, but at the same time, I'm on the other camp. I'm on the other side of this line here because I'm the youngest child of a really big family. Yeah. And Philip is the oldest out of 7 siblings, the oldest male. He's number 2 in the line. And you, Pallavi, as oldest, like, the sibling friendship, like growing up dynamic, like everybody just cooked for me. So I will go into a kitchen and still with Philip, who's the oldest and I'm the youngest of our groups. I'm like, I'm hungry. And he'll be like, and he'll get up and he'll be like, okay, what do you want to eat?
Girl.
And he just like goes and figures it out. And I'm like, there's nothing to eat. There's nothing to eat. I'm that person. Just
That's
so you know.
Hilarious. No, listen, you guys know I'm quarantined up in this here nice house alone. So ain't nobody cooking nothing for me. There have been days where I don't feel like cooking and I just lay on the couch and I'm like, well, that's what's happening today. Nothing.
Which actually brings me to the question of, with Cooking with Carly, and with that being an easy, demanding source of connection with, a big casting of net of connection, like whoever's available, whoever clicks on your thing. Yeah. Are there any like familiar names that you now see that you feel like, hey, have you been? Or do you have like any sort of like relationship growing with anyone that watches your segment maybe more than once?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's not too many strangers because it's an interesting time. So you want to connect with your fan base, or, I want to connect with my fan base, but also it's like, there's still a boundary. So like when the world opens up, I don't want you to feel like I dropped off, because also we're not really friends, but I enjoy putting a like on your comment. You know what I mean? Like there's still that line, in life. And also as doing what I do for a living is like, you still have to have that line. But I do I've opened up the DMs and have like looked in the other folders and allowed them to and keep them in the general so that I can go in and at least just like what they say. Do you know what I mean? And so there's tons fans that come every day and they'll send posts and I try to put them in my stories, or they'll write comments. And I mean, I have time to write a huge thing back, but I'll always like. And so a lot of fan bases come back. My friend, Diana Maria Rivas, she all the time is always like, hey girl, I watched your segment. Or she'll text me and be like, wait, what does my air fryer have to be on to make these donuts? It's so funny. And yeah, it's so funny. And I've started working out with Isaac Boots, and he'll look now and be like, what is that you're making? Or my friend Kelly from her name's Kelly McCreary. She's on Grey's Anatomy, and she's constantly like, I didn't know you know how to make that. Can you give me the recipe? There's so many friends, and also within our business, that are like, give me that. You know, Patina the other day was like, can I have that lobster recipe? I'm going to make it for my cheat meal. So it also, like, normally I'd be like, ugh, just watch the video, which I do. I post all of my Cooking with Carly recipes. I post the whole quote unquote segment, we'll say, in my highlights. And so they're always there. Mm-hmm. But I have grown now patience with myself and going, okay, well, this gives me an excuse to write it at the actual recipe down, because it's all from my head. You know what I mean? And so if I write it down and I want to do a cookbook later or send the recipe to friends, then now I have it. So it's actually been a good process of people reaching out and asking, like, what are you cooking? And, oh, I'll make that, and blah, 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 you know.
Well, also takes the pressure off of you. I think like one of the other things that I feel like has happened, especially in our industry and for what we do as for a living, it's like, hey, you have all this time now, create, make some stuff. And like, you know, it can be very overwhelming, but I think you found a really good balance of like doing what you were going to do anyway and just turning on the camera. And so, and I was actually going to pitch to you. I was like, you know, that was going to be one of my pitches. I was like, you should write a book from your own recipes, now that, you know, you have all this content.
That's
you know?
what I've been thinking about, Paul.
Yes. I have another pitch for you too. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go.
You should invite people onto your Instagram. You should do a live segment, and you should have like guests come on and cook with you, because I would love to come on and cook vegan food with you.
Oh my God, I love you so much. Somebody else asked that to me the other day, and like, listen, as much anxiety as I get from group text messages, the Instagram live in light of this whole gives me almost equal amounts of anxiety, because people are just on live like, hey guys, here's my cat. And then here's my couch, the blanket I slept under. And I'm like, oh God. And not to say that like it would be that way, but I always get nervous. I'm like, I did like my Greek turkey burgers, which are my favorite recipe. I did the first half live, and I was like, I'll post it to IGTV. First of all, I don't know how to do that. I learned later that I didn't.
It's not user friendly.
I saved it enough that it was in my stories, but I thought that it would automatically archive, which I learned that it does not. So now the Greek turkey burgers have a half a thing. But when I did the live, it was like so awkward, because I was like, do you just talk to yourself while it's recording until people come on? That's awkward. And then when people come on and say, hey, and then they leave, and then the number at the top that scrolls that shows you how many people are watching, you're like, if it says 6 people, I don't want to do it.
Well, that's why I said you should do an Instagram live with another person, because you talk to that other person while you're waiting for things to do. So that's why, like,
I'll contemplate that, because you know what, Miyokos, that Greek vegan line, just sent me a whole bunch of stuff yesterday, cheeses and butters and things like that. So maybe we'll do like a live cooking together.
But like, as friendships go here, Pallavi, you have to hound Carly on it. She might not do it. So
she knows. I openly say, I'm like, look, there's 800 million things going through this phone and this computer. If you want me, you gotta be like, girl, get it together.
Well, that's not what I said. What I said was like, just remind Carly for a few times, because then she'll get to it. She'll do it. You just got to remind her.
I love that though, because I think that, you know, you can only have that sort of relationship with somebody if you've gotten to that level of comfort, right? Like you can only hound somebody if you love each other that much. So I will take that as like, you know, a welcome challenge.
Exactly. And also like, if you're not really my friend, then if you're not reminding me to do something, then you're not as close as you think you are. Does that make sense? Like, because even my team professionally, they know, okay, I sent Carly this email. I need to send her 2 more so that she gets it. And if she doesn't get it by the 3rd, something's wrong. Because that's literally the chain of events. It's like text messages, which is stressful to me because you can't go and mark them as unread. So if I get a text message that's important, yeah, I've seen it, but 18 other text messages have come in and now I forgot to scroll and don't remember who sent it. Does that make sense?
Right.
So like your emails like that, your life
Absolutely.
is like that, your daytime planner is like that. And so I'm actively like, yeah, I'm going to need a reminder. And I will also set reminders that pop up on my phone, but I'm not ashamed to be like, I need help.
Well, what are friends for? Listen.
Yeah, that's what friends are for.
That's what friends are for. And, you know, I just am so glad that you were able to be on our show. And like, I want to let you know, I didn't have to hound you. Okay. I didn't have to remind you a lot. You were like, yeah. And then you were here. You made it happen. So props to you on that. You should pat yourself on the back.
People that I love, I'm like, yeah, the only reminder I need is to like, sign forms. But to show
Fill
up
out the form.
there, I'll be there.
Slay. Well, we are going to wrap up this episode with our final segment. That is our bookend of the show. We call it
Lightning War.
And it's a lightning round of just like a quick, question and answer coming from you. And just right off the top of your head, it's about friendship. Don't worry, nothing too deep. Well, and also deep. It's deep, but also not. But also deep. And here we go. So you just answer them like as quickly off the top of your head as you feel, and we will wrap the episode with that.
Word.
Here we go. Carly.
Yeah.
How long is your longest friendship?
Oh God, my longest friendship is I have two friends that I'm still good friends with, Greba and Lori from 5th grade. Cute. I have a handful of other ones too, but those two we particularly like keep in touch. Their kids, I know their kids and all that.
And how do you stay in touch?
Mainly text messages. And then when I go home to Maryland, because they're both in Maryland, I try to see them at least. I'm always home for 5 seconds, but I try to see them, each of those two, when I get home to Maryland, which is around like holiday time.
In one word, what type of friend are you? For example, you're the problem solver, the listener, you're needy, you're blunt, etc.
In one word? Oh, Lord.
Well, maybe two. That's fine.
Okay. I am the loyal caretaker.
Love it.
What do you want to do better as a friend?
Not need reminders.
We'll get you an assistant. And finally, Pallavi, you can ask the last question.
Carly, what are friends for?
Friends are for being your chosen family.
Oh, I love that.
Man, that is good. That's some good stuff. That is some good cooking with Carly right there. It's like soul cooking right there.
I dropped all the boop on you.
All the boop. Boop. Let's call it Boop with Carly. Well, Carly, again, let our listeners know how we can find you and where we can, and where, like, if you're an Insta person, it seems like you are. Go ahead.
You guys can text me at, I'm just kidding.
We were like, oh.
Can you imagine? No, I can never imagine. Nightmare.
No.
Twilight Zone. You guys follow me on Instagram because really that's the only one I pay attention to. There is a Facebook, don't remember the login, and there is a Twitter, don't use it. So Instagram, it's just my name, at Carly Hughes, and you can find me there being myself, a goofball, and cooking when I have groceries to cook with.
Well,
fantastic.
We love you. We love connecting with you through quarantine, and this was just a delight. Thanks
for having me. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you. Seriously.
Thanks. Bye. Okay, bye.
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 1, 2, 3, 4.
This episode was produced by Team Access Productions and Fast Nickel Inc. Our supervising producer is Philippa Sanchin.
Our consulting producers are Kathleen Cho and Megan Densmore. Our production assistants are Alex Udome and Susie Cabello. Special thanks to Samantha Weiner and Hari Savitala.
Our podcast artwork is created by Aishwarya Sukesh.
Original music by Joey Sherman.
Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you're listening to it now. This really helps our show's visibility, and it lets us keep making it for you.
Find us on Instagram and Twitter at WAFF Podcast. That's WAFF Podcast. And email any questions, requests, and positive feedback to whataretefriendsforpodcast@gmail.com.
We truly appreciate you all checking in with us online. But you know that friend that you've been like, oh, I really haven't checked in with that person in a while? Go do that.
Yeah, go do that now.